the optics of that, even as a kid, I was like, well, that's a perfect marriage. But you just pictured, Daddy Mass going to Vegas. It's just going to work. He's got Jay with him. Jay's not Italian, but he is. It was just like it was perfect. You guys were going to take over in the desert. It was going to be like Casino. But it just didn't work out. And that's something that people really never talk about. What was, and I'm not looking for dirt on it, but what was that experience like that few years out there? Because it was a struggle. I mean, you look down the road and UCLA is winning a national title or ramping up to, and you guys are in a street fight and in the aftermath of all kinds of, NCAA stuff, and you're trying to pick up the pieces. What was that like?
It was really, for me, a young assistant who loved Villanova. I had been there for 5 years as an assistant. I had worked at the camp for 3 years before that. People like you and your family, you were so close to everybody. You knew you were kind of crushing everybody's hearts. It was wild leaving. How old were you that year when we left? It was 93.
Yeah, I guess I was 14.
Yeah, that 14. Was big to a lot of people.
Huge, dude. It was soul crushing. And
it was such a bizarre move, Villanova to UNLV. When Coach Mass told me, I was shocked, and I was, I was a young assistant. If Coach told me we were going to China, I was going.
Yeah,
I was just so loyal and just believed in him so much. But it was incredible. Like when we got there, and we followed Jerry Tarkanian, and you got in there and you realized how they ran their program. It was genius how they ran their program, but it was the exact opposite of what we did at Villanova. It was I know I was naive. When you're at a place like Villanova, you look at UNLV and you think like, wow, if we were there, it'd be easy. They've got everything. But when you got there, you realize a lot of the things that Jerry Tarkanian and his staff did, whether you right or wrong, a lot of the things they did were because of the makeup of that university in that city. So they had problems at UNLV that we never encountered at Villanova. And they were easy for us at Villanova. And then there were things at UNLV that were right at your fingertips that you would never be able to have. I remember Charles Barkley, who was a very good friend of mine, but we were young and good friends back then, showing up to go to a fight, at the Mirage, and he's like, "Come on, let's go." And we're with Buffer and all those guys, and we're like, "Man, you could just go to this stuff, sit in the front row." Steve Wynn got us seats, and we're like, "Holy, you never did this when we were going over." Yeah. It was wild. Michael Buffer, you're going out to dinner. You were the toast of the town, but Jerry Tarkanian's group handled that extremely well and concentrated on basketball, and we were trying to do that. We were like a more inclusive group. Coach Massimino included everybody, and there was so many differences that it was not a good fit. And Coach, when we got there after a couple of months, we kind of figured it out, but Coach had taken the job, and now we got to make this work. And I could write. We wrote a book after our first national championship called Attitude.
Yeah.
We ever wrote a book on those 2 years in Las Vegas following Jerry Tarkanian. That would be a bestseller, trust me.
Oh, that's what I'm working on right now. I'm trying to pump you for stories. No, I can't even imagine.
You can't.
What that was like.
I couldn't have found
yeah,
two more diverse philosophies. And it's truly why Robert Maxson, the president, it's truly why he brought Coach Massimino out there.
He wanted to restore some order.
And his idea was we wanted to make this. It was when Steve Wynn was promoting in Las Vegas. This is a family town. And they built Circus and MGM had the big theme park, and they were trying to make it a family town. And they felt by the university bringing in a coach like Coach Mass and having the players graduate, that would help. But once we got there, we were there a few months, and we realized this is a professional team, man. This is not interested in these guys graduating. We had J.R. Ryder when we first got there.
Yeah.
He was amazing, but they didn't care. They didn't care if he went to class or not. They wanted him to perform.
Yeah.
And Coach Mass was getting him to go to class, and he was doing it. But if he didn't go to class, he'd sit him out, and then the newspapers would would kill Coach Mass for sitting out J.R. Ryder for not going to class. It was wild.
It's not too much different.